Good afternoon, Honourable President, Honourable Deputy Speaker and Honourable Members. It is not often that we as politicians admit to fear or worry. There is this expectation that we should show strength and to lead the way that inspires confidence and, dare I say, hope. So, Honourable President, coming from the Southern Cape, I will admit to you that I was a bit worried when you were announced as the presidential candidate for the 2019 election. Not because of your track record you offered or a record of firm and decisive leadership, but something more powerful but also more dangerous. You offered people hope after years of mismanagement by your predecessor. It didn't matter that the Western Cape had a track record far better than any ANC government on any topic, on almost any metric. You offered hope, and that's dangerous. Since your election, we've heard countless promises and visions of hope from you, sweeping statements that tugs at the heartstrings that allow us to daydream of a South Africa that could be. The risk in dealing with the currency of hope, however, is that it is closely linked to credibility, a much more valuable commodity that takes years to earn and only moments to squander. In your address almost a year ago regarding the then impending lockdown and plans to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic, you again tapped into your rhetoric of hope and a promise of swift, clear actions. South Africans came together. We bought into your promise that our healthcare services would be ready during the hard lockdown, that businesses would be supported, and individuals would have a safety net through additional support from government. But over the past year, your credibility has plummeted with every ridiculous lockdown regulation that got gazetted, with every business that closed its doors, and with every single person that joined the lines of the unemployed. You and your party certainly have the reverse Midas touch. Your government has perfected the uncanny ability to make money disappear and get away with it. When the DA points out these glaring, obvious missteps, we get asked by an increasing lazy commentariat what we would have done. The answer is quite simple. It's not what we would have done, it's what we have done. The example to follow is right here in the Western Cape under the leadership of Premier Alan Winde. There was a political will to follow honest, pragmatic and a clear approach. Doing the basics well is not easy as merely offering hopes and dreams. It takes months and years to build a solid reputation. But in the long run, it is that reputation and the political will and expertise that carry you through. Imagine if we had a national government that made decisions based on facts, decisions that benefited the citizens and not the party elite. The Western Cape set the example in fighting not just a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic, but also an overzealous national government that do not care for their citizens. How can you argue with a record where a province builds a state-of-the-art hospital in 6 weeks? This extra 682-bed hospital with oxygen gave Western Cape residents peace of mind when the numbers of infected rose. The examples of how Western Cape municipalities stepped up during the pandemic is commendable. When SASSA failed miserably in the mandate, DA councils like Swartland, Mossel Bay, George, Saldanha stepped up with feeding schemes and support packages, and together with the private sector, fed hundreds of thousands of the most vulnerable. These municipalities showed that they understand the burden of poverty many residents have to carry. When children at the poorest schools were left without their only meal of the day, the ANC stepped away and the DA stepped up. Instead of supporting a DA Western Cape government, the ANC threatened with court action to try to stop us from looking after the most vulnerable. There is a consequence of disciplined financial management built up over years. When the pinch hits, businesses close, people lose their jobs or only get part of their salaries. Municipalities like Stellenbosch, Hessequa and Breda Valley, to name a few, have the ability to relax their credit control for households and indigent households and support them during the crisis. If we ever needed an example of how positive a more decentralized approach to government would be for South Africa, the Western Cape is the prime example. It delivered and it stepped up during the pandemic. It is time government moved away from managing everything centrally, because that approach has failed. the chances that the ANC will take heed of the danger in dealing with hope and promises is basically nil, especially in a country like South Africa, where the challenges we face can seem overwhelming at times. The Honourable MEC for Health, Limpopo, is a clear example. I mean, you cannot even read the expiry date of a vaccine. I hope you read better when your milk expires. Nonetheless, I want to thank you, Mr. President, for you and your party's continuous empty promises and pipe dreams that have lost their value. South Africans are starting to see the value of a pragmatic, honest, hard-working government. They are seeing the value of DA-led governments, and I, for one, am looking forward to the next test of the electorate, where the DA record of actual delivery is measured up against the ANC record with its reverse Midas touch. I thank you.
Thank you.